Last week, my brother Mark showed up at my house unannounced, holding his newborn son in one arm and a folder of papers in the other. He said he had something important to discuss. I figured he needed baby advice or maybe just a break from being a new dad. I could not have been more wrong. Before I could even offer him coffee, he cut me off and said, "You don't need this house anymore. You should give it to us. We have a baby now." At first, I laughed. I thought it was one of his strange jokes, but his face was dead serious. I just stared at him, waiting for a punchline that never came. When I asked what he was talking about, he launched into a long story about how he and his wife Jessica were barely making ends meet in their tiny apartment. Apparently, their rent went up, and with the new baby, they were struggling. And because I'm single and financially stable, he decided I should just give him my house. Just to be clear, this house was left to me by my grandparents a couple of years ago. It's not a mansion, but it's my dream home. I grew up visiting it every summer and have so many memories here. When it became mine, I poured nearly all my savings into renovating it. A new kitchen, new floors, updated plumbing. It's not just a house, it's my safe haven. I tried to be calm and rational. "Mark," I said, "I'm really sorry you're struggling, but this house was left to me for a reason. I've worked hard to make it my own." But he wouldn't let it go. He shot back, "You don't have a family. It's selfish to keep this all to yourself when we have a child to think about." That's when Jessica, who I guess had been waiting in the car, came inside. She started chiming in about how family should help each other and how they'd already planned how to make the space work for them. Planned. She even had the nerve to suggest I could rent a nice apartment somewhere since I'm just one person. I was floored. I told them flat out, "This is my home. I'm not giving it up." That's when things got ugly. Jessica started crying, fake tears I swear, and said something like, "I knew she wouldn't understand. She's always been selfish." Mark got more aggressive, accusing me of hoarding resources. He actually said, "It's not fair that you have all this while we're struggling." At that point, I was so angry I could barely speak. I asked them to leave, but Mark just dropped his folder on my coffee table and said, "Think about it. It's what's best for the family." After they finally left, I looked at the folder. It was filled with documents, suggested timelines for me to move out, a budget for their maintenance of the house, and even a drafted letter to my HOA announcing the change in ownership. I couldn't believe the entitlement. They had planned this whole thing out like a corporate takeover. The next day, it got worse. My parents called, and they were on Mark's side. My mom said, "You don't need all that space, sweetheart. Mark has a baby now. It's only fair." My dad added, "You're single, you have flexibility. They don't." I tried to explain, but it was like talking to a brick wall. Every time I said no, they made me feel like some greedy villain. What hurt the most was when my mom said, "I thought we raised you better than this." For a couple of days, I actually started to doubt myself. Was I being selfish? But then I remembered everything I'd put into this place, the late nights scraping wallpaper, the weekends spent installing cabinets. This wasn't just about a house, it was about their complete lack of respect for me. When I told Mark again that my answer was no, he exploded. He said I was tearing the family apart and called me heartless. That night, Jessica posted a long, dramatic Facebook rant about toxic relatives who abandon family in their time of need. It was obvious who she meant. Now, I feel like my entire family is against me, all because I said no to something completely insane. The final straw came this morning, a text from Mark saying, "If you don't do the right thing, don't expect to be part of our lives, and that includes your nephew. If you thought my brother demanding my house was bad, buckle up." I didn't think it could get any more ridiculous, but I was wrong. After Mark and Jessica stormed out and posted their passive-aggressive rant, I thought the drama might cool down. But no. A few days later, I came home from work to find an envelope taped to my door. Inside was a notice of legal action. Yes, you read that right. Mark and Jessica are trying to sue me for my own house. At first, I thought it was a joke. But as I read the documents, my stomach dropped. They're claiming the house was part of a family estate, and that I unfairly claimed it. They're demanding I either sign over the deed or sell the house and split the money with them. I was in complete disbelief. My grandparents' will was crystal clear. The house was left to me, and only me. The next day, I called my lawyer, who thankfully reassured me their case was flimsy at best. The will is ironclad. Still, the fact that my own brother would drag me into a legal battle over this made my blood boil. What really sent me over the edge, though, was finding out who was paying for their lawsuit: my parents. When I confronted them, my mom tried to justify it, saying, "We're just trying to make things fair." My dad told me, "We just don't want to see them struggle. You're doing fine on your own." I told them they were enabling Mark's entitlement and that I'd never forgive them for this. My mom just started crying, saying, "I don't know what's happened to this family." Yeah, Mom, neither do I. As if that wasn't enough, Jessica cranked her social media campaign up to 11. She's posting these sob stories about how heartless I am, complete with pictures of their apartment looking as bleak as possible and captions like, "All we want is a safe space for our baby." The comments are full of people saying I should be ashamed. I started getting messages from cousins and aunts, all telling me to do the right thing. It's like they've all forgotten this is my home. But then things took an even darker turn. While going through their ridiculous paperwork, my lawyer and I found something. Buried deep in the legal documents was a mention of a family agreement that I supposedly signed, stating the house was meant to be shared. I had never signed anything like that. The signature was a fake. It was forged. Meanwhile, a friend of mine saw Jessica at a high-end baby boutique, dropping hundreds on designer nursery furniture. She's been posting about their struggles, right alongside photos of fancy dinners. I'm starting to think this was their plan all along. The lawsuit is still ongoing, but my lawyer is confident. Still, the damage is done. My relationship with my family feels broken. The cherry on top? Mark showed up again yesterday. He had the nerve to tell me, "You're going to regret this when the baby grows up. They'll know what kind of aunt you really are." I just closed the door in his face. I'm not giving up my house. If that makes me the villain in their story, then so be it. This whole fight was never just about the house. It turns out, it's about a family secret that has completely blown up my life. To recap, my brother and his wife are suing me for the house my grandparents left me, and my parents are funding their legal fees. I was confident the case would fall apart, but I never expected this fight to unearth a secret that would change everything. It started a few weeks ago. My lawyer requested some old family documents to further disprove their claim. When the papers arrived, I noticed a strange file I'd never seen before. Curiosity got the best of me, and I opened it. What I read inside made my blood run cold. It turns out Mark isn't my full brother. He's my half-brother. Before my parents got married, my mom had an affair. My grandparents knew about it and agreed to keep the secret. The letters revealed that Mark's biological father left a significant sum of money for my mom when Mark was born. My grandparents used part of that money to buy the very house that eventually became mine. I sat there in shock. My entire life, I believed we were a normal family. This was a betrayal on so many levels. Last week, during another heated phone call, Mark yelled, "You don't even know the whole story." And that's when he dropped the bomb. He knew. He's known for years that we're half-brothers. Our mom told him when he was a teenager. But instead of feeling betrayed by her, he felt entitled. In his mind, the house was bought with his inheritance, so it should belong to him. I was speechless. I asked him why he didn't just say something sooner. His answer? "Because I knew you'd never give it up willingly." He admitted everything. The lawsuit, the forged signature, the social media campaign, was all part of a calculated plan to pressure me into handing over the house. And my parents were in on it. When I confronted them, they didn't deny it. My mom said, "We just wanted to make things right for Mark." I asked her why she let me believe this hoe. Use was truly mine, only to help Mark try to take it. Her response? "We thought you'd understand. You have your whole life ahead of you. Mark needs this more." In that single moment, I realized I couldn't trust them anymore. They didn't see me as their daughter. They saw me as an obstacle. Since then, I felt a whirlwind of anger and betrayal, but also a strange sense of relief. At least now, I know the truth. It doesn't make it hurt any less, but it gives me clarity. As for the lawsuit, my lawyer is preparing to counter their claims with everything we've uncovered. The forged documents alone are enough to sink their case, and I'm considering pressing charges for fraud. My relationship with my parents and Mark is completely destroyed. I don't know if I can ever forgive them. But one thing is for sure, I'm not letting my house go. I'm done being the family scapegoat.